We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Or sit. We don't care, really.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What? Good. So, welcome to my little panel on FM synthesis. People online call me Saxman. I'm best known for, I guess, sonic ROM hacking. When I was a teenager, I started poking around ROMs, and long story short, I wrote the Sonic 2 Hacking Guide and a bunch of others, and kind of made a little bit of a name for myself doing that. So, but in the process of doing that, well, I'll pivot for a moment. My dad, back in the 80s, had these FM synthesizers. He had a Yamaha DX7 to FD, and he had a Yamaha TX81Z. And I grew up around those sounds. My dad still to this day has an unbelievable amount of music equipment. I don't know how he even finds space for it. But at some point, I guess about 25 years ago, he unofficially kind of gave me his FM synthesizers because he has better stuff now. But what this has to do with games and my sonic ROM hacking background is when I was poking around in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I found voice data. Voice is Yamaha's terminology for an FM instrument. So it's the sound, it's the voice given to the FM synthesizer. So I found the data for these in Sonic 2, and I started poking around at them, and I started listening to how the sounds changed. And I found it interesting because I was noticing some similarities between that and the FM synthesizers that I had right there in my room. I thought, well, this is made by Yamaha, and these are made by Yamaha. Maybe there's some connection here. So I will show you here in a bit the similarities between these things, just how alike they are, and some of their differences. So. But first, I want to go over some just basics of FM, because we're also going to do a little voice editing. So, where's my slides?
Yeah, we're just thinking about that.
Hold on a second. There they are. Okay. So at a high level, you have going from left to right, top down. An oscillator is the first basic component of FM. That's just basically, it's sort of like a function generator. It just produces a sine wave. You have an envelope, and that controls the volume output of the sound. So when you strike a guitar string, there's a very quick attack, and so the left edge there on that little graphic there, that's your attack, and I'll go over all of that stuff here in a bit. But that is supposed to mimic what real sounds do. You have an operator which combines these two things. An oscillator and an envelope together make up an operator. And then we have an algorithm. And that is taking multiple operators and chaining them in a specific sequence. Depending on how they're connected will determine how the sound is affected. Any questions so far? Okay.
No,
Thanks, Andy. So there's two types of operators, a carrier and a modulator. Carrier is the one that actually generates the sound. The modulator is another type of a sine signal that can manipulate the output of a carrier wave. If you remember the algorithm that I showed you here in the previous slide, you see how they're connected there. One is a modulator, one is a carrier. The modulator is affecting the other. So here's an example. You have a modulator on the left. I don't know how well you can see it, those lines are kind of thin, but you have this sort of V there. It's a sine wave that's 90 degrees out of phase. That's the easiest way I know to represent it. And then a carrier is your normal sine wave. The output here, as I'll explain the output, but it compresses and expands the carrier wave, and that's what you're going to hear on the output. The envelope generator, as I mentioned, controls the output level. So again, you have that attack rate on the left, and then the next line down from the top is they call it a decay 1 rate, and then you have your D2R, decay 2 rate. So you can decay faster at first and then level off slower. And the D1L there, that line there, controls where that breakpoint is. And then you have your release rate. So when you let go of the key, that's how fast it goes down to the noise floor. Any questions so far? Okay. These are the algorithms used in Yamaha's 8 algorithm 4 operator based synthesizers, and there's a lot, including the Sega Genesis. As I say, these are the relationships of the operators. Down here, you see they're all in a row together, and all that means is that their outputs are just added together. It's as if you had, it's like mixing a guitar and a piano and drums all on a mixing board, as opposed to one of these where they're stacked on top of one another. That relationship is where your modulators come into place. The modulator is going to, the modulator at the top is going to manipulate the one under it, which is going to manipulate the operator under that. But the operators at the bottom are all carriers. All right. I'm not going to read all that. In a nutshell, you have 2 ways that modulation is controlled. You have your frequency and your output. So the frequency is going to control how fast that movement of the waves back and forth are. The output is the range in which it compresses and expands. And I'll show that here. So on the far left there's no output at all. And there's varying levels of frequency. They all look the same, but when you apply 50% output in the middle there, you'll see the ones at the top with the highest frequency have much more compression of the waves. They're tighter. At the bottom, they're much more broad. And then here, it's even more dramatic. Does that make sense so far? Does that not make sense? And just to put a fine point on this, this is why that happens. This purple line here is your modulator. At its peak, at its highest point, those carrier waves are really tight. So it's a very high frequency. As it comes down to the middle here, that's the 0 point. This is positive, negative, this is 0. At the 0 point, the modulation of that carrier, the sine wave comes to a complete stop. And then as the modulator comes down negative, the sine wave direction changes and goes backwards. That's why these don't go all the way to the top and bottom. Let me show you an example of the relationships between FM synthesizers and the Genesis. So, this is a tool I wrote a long time ago, and it's perfect for this exercise. So this is a Sonic 2, and this tool will look at the voice data of all the songs in Sonic 2. Let me pick one here. Let's do Chemical Plant. It's got 6 voices. I'm going to name these CPZ 1, 2, CPZ 3, CPZ 4.
You're still on 3 there.
Oh, whoops.
Delete key?
I don't think that works. No, that's okay. CPZ 4 real. CPZ 5. CPZ 6. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to export this, save all of this. CPZ dot YMX. YMX. What are you doing? Dot YMX. Okay. Now that I've got that, and I'm going to bring up one more tool, because I'm going to copy this.
Need water? Bottle.
What?
You need water? You need a bottle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I need this tool. Looking for another tool. Here we go. Open in terminal.
So you can convert that file to MIDI SysX.
Yes. So, anyone know what SysX is? Go ahead.
It's a series of proprietary commands intended for a specific synthesizer, usually. I mean, there's ones that synthesizers kind of all understand, generally speaking, but it's not a rigid standard like general MIDI would be.
Right. So, right.
It's kind of like a way of programming your MIDI equipment.
So I'm going to convert this to here, auto store. And then I need to specify my, my file. So what I'm trying to do is get these sounds onto the synthesizer. Did I tell everyone that my computer's on top of a synthesizer? It's on top of a TX81Z, the same one that my dad had all those years ago. The input was CPZ.YMX, CPZ, I'll put a number because I want to make sure I've, what? Where's the file? Oh, I know what's wrong. The conversion, I'm typing all of this in wrong. That's where I need to specify file name. And then the option, I want to do an auto store. There we go. So I've put this data into the closest representation of voice data that the TX81Z would use. Now I just need to transfer that. So if I go to MIDI aux, I want to open sysx. That's what I'm looking for. Load file. CPZ1. There's the system exclusive data. And okay. So let me make sure this can talk to the TX81Z. Here's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this this key controller to talk to, oh. I forgot to plug it in. Okay. So there it is, and it recognizes it. Okay, so that's just a generic sound. Okay, now let me do this voice transfer. And I have to turn the memory lock off. Utility. Memory protection off. Okay. I'll close this and reopen it because it wasn't even plugged in before. Okay. Do this again. Load file. Okay. Now. Oh, okay, yeah. Send it. Okay. I think it'll work. There you go. Took a while, but we got it. So, obviously, most of you, all of you recognize that from Chemical Plant Zone, Sonic 2. This thing is very similar to what's in the Genesis. Let me go back to the slides for a second. There. So there's umpteen million Yamaha chips. I'm not going to bore you with every detail, but just some of them There's the OPL line, the Sega, not the Master System, but the Mark III that the Master System is basically a clone of. Used it. It's also used in some old Sound Blaster cards, if anyone remembers those from the DOS days. You do? Yeah.
I'm old.
And then the Genesis had OPN 2, but there were also other OPN variants as well. It's used in the Sega Genesis, definitely FM Towns. I don't know why System 32 is there. I'm not sure that's correct. I have to double check my facts on that, but definitely the Sega Genesis and FM Towns computer. And then OPM, that was actually, I believe, based on my research, Yamaha's first FM chip that they actually produced before their DX synthesizers. So that was used in a bunch of arcade games. It was used in the Sharp X68000, which was a Japanese home computer. Then there's the ones that they used in their synthesizers, which are very, very similar to the OPM. OPP, OPZ, and then later OPZ2. So there's a whole bunch of synthesizers there in that list. The TX81Z is there. That uses the OPZ. That's where it gets its name. And I had this slide last year, and that's just too much information, so I'm going to skip that. And if you wanted to know more, there's a bunch of links there. I can share them afterward as well. But I want to show you another thing, because this cements what I demonstrated here when I did that voice transfer. And I put this together. I don't know if this makes it more confusing or if this helps, but each chip has a set of registers, holds different parameters for the FM synthesis. On the left here is the OPN2 that's used in the Genesis. So this is, I mean, it's kind of it's stripped down a little bit, but this is enough to really get the idea across. This is basically the set of parameters that's used to generate FM sounds. That OPM chip that I mentioned was their first one and was used in a lot of other stuff. It's a lot beefier than the OPN2. And by that I mean, you know, it's got, this has one detune, this has two detunes. This has one LFO that's 3 bits in length. This has 2 LFOs. No, this has 1 LFO. This has 1 LFO. That's 8 bits in length. The OPZ on the right here has 2 LFOs. So the other thing I want to point out is if you look here, this is detune, multiplier, total level, rate scale, attack rate, decay 1 rate, decay 2 rate, amplitude modulation enable, decay 1 level, and release rate. You will find that very same list down here. It looks exactly the same, except this has a detune 2. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. From 3x through 8x matches this. And same over here. This thing's crazy because this is the OPZ, that's what's down here. These, I forget what they call them. There's a technical term, but basically, some of these registers have a bit, a flag that you can toggle, and it'll change what you're reading or writing here. So it sort of changes what register. It's sort of it's like a fork. You can go left or right, and there are two different values that you can access. And that's just because they exhausted the memory map here, so that's what they did. But the overarching point is that the same number of bits, the same types of values are across all of these. And because of that, you can produce the very same types of sounds across all of them. Let me try to take a voice. Does anyone want to hear me take a generic voice from the TX and put it in Sonic 2? Does that sound interesting? That sounds interesting to me. So I'm going to go back to this tool here. Let me minimize that because that's distracting.
What voice are you going to use?
I don't know. I'm just, well, let me select one so you can hear it. Let's see. Let's get a bass sound. I think that's generic enough, actually.
You replace the CPZ-1 voice with a saxophone.
I don't know. I don't remember if there's a saxophone on here.
I heard it when we were cycling through there's some sort of brass instrument.
I can try it. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, rasp alto. There you go. Okay, well, let's try that. So that's a B10. So I have the, is it the, oh, it's over here, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to take this and, gosh, it's blurry. Yamaha DX-TX system exclusive. So load bank, oh gosh. This was back when I didn't know how to program and I used free software to put together a tool. So I have to type in the path. Where is it? Okay, this is bank B. So it's txb.syx. Not that one. txb.syx. There they are. Those are all the sounds from that bank that's that I currently got loaded here. And it was rasp alto, that one. I'm going to replace the chemical plant sound that we ported over. I'm going to put rasp alto in place of it. All right, and I'm going to save this. And with any luck, it will sound right. Okay, so where's my ROM? Okay.
Hold on a second, sorry. It's when the main melody kicks in.
Well, you killed one of the musicians.
voice.
The audio is coming from this projector.
Yeah, you should change that to the speaker. Do you have it connected to a mixer?
No, maybe
It's
I.
RCA cables usually here.
Let's try it. I don't know. Listen. I can hear something, but I think it's too soft.
Not compatible, maybe?
I can definitely hear it.
There's so let me stop this. Okay, so something that has less power, less parameters, porting to something that has more parameters often works a lot better than something that has more parameters and you're bringing it to something that's less. Let me try one more voice because I think I can be successful with this one. So I am going to try that bass sound. So over here, I'll drag us over, you can see, bass is in TXC, not TXB. Is that me?
No, it's next door.
Okay.
You're good.
Thought I was hearing chemical plant. Okay, Lec Bass 1. And let me show you what that sounds like. This is... Okay. So let's try this again. And I'm going to place that there. Okay, I'm going to save that ROM. I don't know what octave it's in. It's probably... It's pretty close.
It's not as high fidelity as
Yeah, it's... but you kind of get the idea that there is a very tight relationship between these.
Is just the volume that's lower, or is there more fundamental compatibility?
I don't know. Usually I'm listening to this stuff through my own equipment. It might just be the way this is set up here, and I don't know. I'm not sure. But I've not usually had that problem in the past. Okay, that's where we are. Shameless self-promotion. Okay, there's my channel. Just to finish out the slides. I do have this thing at YMTX81Z. That's not an accident. And I don't have a lot of music-related stuff on there, I don't think. But I made this neat level editor for James Pond 3, and nobody loves James Pond 3. But if you like James Pond 3, you can watch some videos on that. I think that's I think that's it for the slides. What I can do now, I can actually show you how some of these voice parameters actually work. Does anybody know what this thing is, other than SSN Tails?
I figure I'm excluded from that.
This is called Furnace. This is probably the most popular tracker that there is out there, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. I try to love it for all of its wonderful strengths. It is very easy to open stuff up in this. We can try. Why don't we just do Green Flower? I mean, I think most people who's played the game Sonic Robo Blast 2 probably at least heard that one. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Hold on. There we go. Let's try it again. Oh, that's mine. That's mine. That's not even the current one. 1 second. 1 second. Give me a second.
Way out of date. I also have B32S.
Who did this one? Westwood?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Green Flower, 32X. Do? Okay. I'll do 2.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Okay, let's do 2. All right. I think this is up a bit. So that's an FM sequence. That's Genesis compatible music. If we use this, has a neat feature that I like, where you can go in settings, MIDI, and yeah, scan for that, because I want to play one of these things. Don't play that. Well, I rescanned. Let me reopen it. This should work. I've done it a million times. The problem is I'm trying to do too many things at once. Yeah, that's what I have. So let's carry on. Okay. There it is. Let me turn up the volume with the wrong button. That's great. Okay. All right. So if I think if you just select one of these, there we go. These are all the parameters for this voice here. And I kind of don't like the way they represent some of this, but if I were just to turn these operators off, here's your algorithm. That's what we were talking about at the beginning. So 4 is the carrier. That's where the sound is coming from. 1, 2, 3, this is a chain of modulators that eventually goes to the carrier. So right now, number 4 is the only one that's on. Now if I turn on 3, you just need one modulator. It can make a huge difference. And that's controlled by the output here. And if you remember from the slides, I said frequency and output are the two things that primarily affect the modulation. Frequency is the speed at which the modulation happens, and the output is the range. So this is modulating very heavily here. That's moderating it. If I want a slow attack, let's do fast attack here. This is your first decay, and the way it's set down here, it decays very fast. So it spikes up and it immediately comes down. This is your release rate. So that's your envelope generator, and then the multiplier will change the octave. That's your modulator. And the way this works, I want to open up one more thing.
By really setting those parameters to extreme values, you can basically reduce the sound effects.
Yeah.
One channel.
One of those sounds reminded me of Commander King.
Let's turn off. I have two modulators and a carrier. This is a tool I wrote, so what the heck did I do? No, I don't want help.
You're not clicking.
Okay, so there we go. That's just a carrier. Oh, jeez. Volume. Okay. So I'm going to turn on. Modulator here with the right key. There we go. And I'm going to turn its output way down. So if I do that. Okay. So there's a modulator on, but its volume is at 0. If you look right here, it's at 0. You're going to see what happens, and you're going to hear the result as I increase the output of the modulator. It's sort of like a string that's getting longer, but it has nowhere to go, so it starts doing all these folds. So it's sort of like having one master frequency, this guy, with all of these smaller frequencies in between each point. And that's the nature of modulation in FM. Anyway, I've gone on for a long time. I'm curious, does anyone have any questions?
What's that tool called that you're using right now?
This is a tool that I wrote that I never released. I actually never finished it.
You gotta get up. You should be wrong. There's
Yeah, I mean, I probably could. The tool that I did earlier to, what was it, to take a Genesis, voice from a Genesis and put it into the TX81Z, that one I have released. I'm not sure many people know about it though. But
You have on GitHub.
I probably should. I mean, I have that GitHub account.
Yeah.
I could probably just put it out there. I don't know if anyone would use it or not, but
Is that just for Mega Drive patches or like FM patches in general?
I'm sorry.
Is that just for Mega Drive sounds or like FM instruments in general?
The converter that I wrote, you talking
This
about?
display.
Oh, what this is displaying? So this is bare bones FM. This will be exactly the same on all of those FM chips. So whether you use an OPM or OPN2 from the Genesis, OPZ, and here, all of them will do that. It's only those extra parameters that sometimes totally change the sound. Any other questions? Sure.
You had a slide with a bunch of links. Can you see that again?
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, there we go. There's a lot of people taking pictures. Any other questions?
What was the name of that program that was it Furnace?
Furnace, yeah.
And so what exactly? What is that?
It's a tracker. I don't know if you're familiar with trackers. I barely knew what a tracker was until just a few years ago, actually. But basically, it tries to Furnace emulates various different sound chips, and among those are the chips in the Genesis. And as a result, it can also play those same sounds as if it was coming from the real hardware. So a lot of people have used that to make what they call chip tunes, and as if they were actual songs on those old systems. So, and incidentally, we use it on Sonic Robot Blast 32X well, I guess our trackers use it, and I convert it, but okay. Well, if nobody else has any questions, I want to thank you very much for listening to me all this time. There we go. That's just a carrier. Oh, jeez.
waiting for more?